everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie if you're brand new here. Today we are going to be talking about 10 reasons to take a gap year and how mine completely changed my life. And just so you guys know, this video is in partnership with EFGapYear. While I did not know about EFGapYear when I was taking my own, I am super excited to be partnering with them because their company and my channel share a lot of the same core values. I was forced to take a gap year because of the global pandemic. I was a sophomore in college already, and I had come from like a very academically intense high school, one could say. I just had absolutely never considered a gap year. I feel like it's something that we don't really do in America super often. I and EF are just absolutely on the same wavelength that taking a gap year can just make your life as a student so much better in college, and just even if you don't decide to go to college, that as well. So you may be wondering what EFGapYear is, and basically it is a company that offers year, semester, and short-term gap year programs from students ages 18 to 22. So they have been a world leader in international education since 1965, and EF's global reach spans more than 100 countries on 6 continents, with more than 50,000 staff members and 600 schools and offices around the world. They are able to offer unparalleled international support 24/7. So at EF, they believe that people who will succeed in the world of tomorrow are confident, adaptable, and comfortable in the face of ambiguity. There are 4-week short-term programs, 10-week semester-long programs, and 25-week gap year programs. They offer students a whole world of destinations to choose from. You can discover iconic European cities on the Pathfinder program, explore Oceania on the brand new Voyager program, or travel through Latin America on the Changemaker program. EF lets you travel your own way, so you can discover places with a local guide, learn a language in an international city of your choice. For example, you can make a sustainable impact in Latin America or Thailand, or take on an internship in a place like Stockholm, Sweden. What's really nice about EF is that they handle all of the details. Everything from flights to on-the-ground transportation, accommodations, activities, excursions, mentorship, global support, and even some of your meals. I did a lot of traveling abroad last year, and a lot of it I had to completely organize myself, and having the infrastructure built into EF I think is a great way to dip your toe into travel, especially if you're freshly out of high school. You can check out their programs on their website. There are student testimonials, videos, guides to their programs that you can go check out if this is something that you're interested in, and I will link their website down below. Now jumping right into the video, speaking to my own gap year experience, is the number one thing that it did for me is it broke me out of my comfort zone. I talk about this literally all the time on my channel, and I barely ever go into depth of what I exactly mean by this. I think that traveling and taking time off from school is some of the most important self-discovery that I have ever done in my life. To give you guys an example, like I was a pretty good student in high school. I was very focused on school. When I got to college, I was still feeling the same way. Like school was very important to me. Having good grades was very important to me. I also had a lot of things from high school moving to college that you think like, oh, I can just sort of shed this skin, and when I go to college, I'll become this new version of myself. And the truth is that it really takes a lot more work than just going to school, because there were a lot of things that I needed to push myself in that were not school, because I was already doing that. My freshman year, I signed up for this week-long trip to go to Iceland, and I had never done anything like this before. Like, I am not an outdoorsy person. I wasn't then, at least. I would never have ever thought that I would go to Iceland by myself. I just signed up for this trip without even thinking what it meant. And what it meant was going with a literal group of 20 strangers to a foreign country by myself. It was life-changing. It was life-changing. You know, staying in your comfort zone feels really good. And I think that's kind of how school felt for me for a long time, is that school was already my comfort zone because I was like pretty good at school. Like, this is something that I thrived in. These outside real life experiences, I hadn't really spent much time in that zone, one could say, because we're talking about comfort zones. But I think that anytime you do something like this, you come out the other side a better person. You know, being young is about testing your limits, and yes, sometimes school can do that, and that's literally what school is meant to do. But if you really think about it, if you are a good student and if that's something that you have prioritized for a really long time and you thrive in that environment, it's not actually pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. So I think having that little shakeup instead of just going right into school is such a cool thing. Number 2 and 3 kind of go together, but taking a gap year showed me that life is not linear, and I learned that my life is happening now. And those are like 2 cliches that just sound like incredibly stupid when I say them out loud. It's just like so completely true. Having real time away from school completely changed the way that I thought about life. And I love EF's mission statement because it talks about facing ambiguity. They want to make students who face ambiguity. This is something that I struggled with a lot as a student. I didn't like ambiguity. I liked knowing that I could get a good grade on something, and that was pretty much the only outcome of school that I was interested in. Yes, learning things is great, but if I was being completely honest with myself, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to be successful in the way that I knew how. And the way that our education system is set up is the way we're rewarded is with grades. A lot of the times, grades don't necessarily correlate with how successful something makes you feel, or it doesn't necessarily correlate with like how much growth you had in a class. You know, for the first 18 years of your life, you're going to school every semester, every quarter, you're getting new grades, and you're doing like, I did all the musicals and I was in the choir concerts, and then in the summer you do summer jobs, and it's just like on repeat for all of those years. And I think that we all have this timeline in our heads of like, oh, by the time I'm this age, I should be doing this. Taking a gap year really pulled me out of that mindset. Because I remember when I was gonna take my gap year, I was grappling with the thought that I was gonna be 23 when I graduated college, not 22. And I don't know why I thought, like at the time I was literally like, I think by the time I'm 23, like I'll be dead. Like I think that's, like in my head I was like, I should have a mortgage and a dog and like a full career by the time I'm 23. Like that's so old. And like now I'm 23 and I'm on my own path, and that I don't know, age just becomes a number. And that is a really exciting feeling because I have learned to let go a little bit. Letting go is good, my friends. Lisa says to have fun. That's what my life coach says. Check out my other videos if you don't know what that means.
The poor guy can't get anything.
What the?
But getting your mindset out of this linear timeline of like how you think your life should go, it really pushed me into like a growth mindset. And if you don't know what growth mindset is, I looked up the exact definition so I wouldn't get this wrong, but it basically describes a way of viewing challenges and setbacks. People who have a growth mindset believe that even if they struggle with certain skills, their abilities aren't set in stone. They think that with work, their skills can improve over time. And this leads perfectly into my number 4 reason to take a gap year, and that is that it gave me time to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And having a growth mindset, it opens up your possibilities for life. Just to give you guys an example of like where I am at in my life. So I'm a college senior and I have recently gotten some news, let's just say. And I have such a strong plan for my future at this point that I never could have dreamed of having before taking a gap year. Like the time that it gave me and developing that growth mindset allowed me to look beyond what I thought I was good at, and it allowed me to work on things that like I actually really care about at the core of my being that make me so happy to be alive and like contributing to society. I am now on a path where I get to pursue that as a career. I'm gonna get upset just because it's been a wild couple of weeks, but it's been a really unbelievable experience for me to see these dreams come to light and to actually become like real tangible things. And a lot of that is due to my gap year because it finally gave me time to sit with the feeling of the rest of my life. Because a gap year, yes, is only a year, but when you've never experienced that before, it's just like you're just always on to the next thing. But when you're faced with that, you have nothing to do for this entire year. Like, what do you want to do? Go change your perspective, go travel, go do all of these things, go, internship and work and figure out what you like and you don't like, because life is short, but life is also really long. And also for number 5, I had a huge leg up in the professional world. During my gap year, I worked in a museum. When I was applying to grad schools, I had a full year of work experience on my resume, which is not something that a lot of college students can say. And when I came back to my degree, which is arts management, I had such a different experience. I had so much to contribute to conversations in the classroom, and I could connect a lot of the things that I lived day to day with our readings. And having that new perspective on my schoolwork completely changed the applications of my own schooling. And then number 6 is my attitude towards school completely changed. And I've sort of been talking about that this whole video, is that you realize how short of a time you're actually in school. Because when you are in school and when you go straight from high school to college, that is literally all that you ever know, is that your whole entire life is school. Structure from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. like every single day. When I got back to school, I realized how cool school is. And I became a better student after my gap year, like in all honesty. And this doesn't mean that I was getting better grades. It honestly has nothing to do with grades because like I was getting good grades before. My grades didn't really change when I came back to school, but I was getting so much more out of my coursework. Before, I was just sort of looking at school as like a means to an end and not as, again, like my life is happening right now. Like what can I get out of school in this moment? When you go straight from high school to college, you sort of skip that step of what is school actually doing for me? What can I get out of school while I'm in it? And not just what am I getting from school at the end. Number 7 is that professors are just people. This is kind of like a silly one, but I feel like when you work with adults and like, you know, you have to like go to work and you have to be like, hey Bob, like it definitely changes your perspective on adults because when you're 18, like yeah, I had like restaurant jobs where I did that, but never like, I don't know, like people who were like superior to me, I never like called them by like their first name in like a professional setting. It feels weird to call a human being Bob. Having that experience of like professors are just people also allows you to navigate college in a different way because you realize that like your professors aren't like this like all-knowing powerful being. There are mistakes that they can make, there are mistakes that you can make, and you are able to communicate with adults in like a different way, which I know sounds kind of weird, but it's just true for me. I was a little anxious child. And then number 8 is I got to travel. And number 9 is that I got to check things off my bucket list. And those two things go hand in hand. And that's why I think EF is like such a cool company because you can pair all of these things together. You can go and see, you know, iconic cultural things that you only see in the movies. Like one of the first things that you can do on the EFGapYear is that you can explore 4 iconic cities at the lead of your local tour director. So you get to explore places like London, Amsterdam, Paris, and Barcelona with students who are your age with a guided tour, which is so cool. For me personally, having those experiences of being in a new place and seeing these things that I could only ever imagine in my wildest dreams, it changes the shape of your mind. It changes the way that you can see possibilities because you're here and you're looking at this thing that you're like, whoa, this is a bucket list. This is wild that I am here. And it grows your confidence so much because it's like, it shows you that, like it kind of shows you anything is possible. If that makes any sense. I don't know, that's like stupid, but it really does. And then number 10 is, you know, growing your tastes. So during my gap year, like I watched a lot of movies that I had never seen before, which kind of sounds stupid. Having that like cultural knowledge is kind of really important when you grow up and you're having conversations with people and they like mention something, is you can be like, oh yeah, I've been there, or oh yeah, I've seen that movie, or oh yeah, I have been to that museum, or you know, all of those sorts of things. But you can check out EF and all of their program options online. I really recommend you check out all of their programs from the short term to semester to year long because they offer really unique opportunities for you to not only see the world, but like to see yourself. If you liked this video, give it a like and comment down below if you've taken a gap year and what you did, what you gained from it. That'd be really cool because you guys always write like such nice comments down below, and it's made me feel less alone, and so I know other people making this decision will hopefully feel less alone as well. Make sure to check out EF with the link below, and I hope you guys have a really nice day. Thanks for watching.
Ba ba da ba 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 ba.